Hello everyone, welcome to Crossdressing Chronicles. This channel will be focused on the art of cross-dressing. All stories are made 100% by me. Many of these stories are based on true events that have happened to me in my adventures as a cross-dresser. Enjoy! I woke up a tad anxious on Saturday morning. I had slept well. Luckily, I didn't have any nightmares. I was just scared. It was going to be my first time dressing up as a woman and wearing makeup like a model. I tried to chase these thoughts away as I went to the bathroom to wash my face. If I started the day with negative thoughts, I was sure to do poorly. Sonia was neither lying in her bed nor in the bathroom. I concluded that she had already gone downstairs for breakfast. I took a shower and shaved. I realized I had no chance to put on a little makeup to camouflage the fact that I'm a boy, not a girl. Luckily for me, Sonia came into the room and offered to put on some foundation and eyeshadow to disguise my masculine features. I thanked her, and we went downstairs together for breakfast. She hadn't actually eaten anything. She had just gone for a walk to take some pictures of the stores in New York City. She said, "My grandmother is going to love these pictures. I plan to make a lot of money at the pageant tomorrow, so I can bring gifts to my family." We sat at the same table as the two girls from the night before. I noticed that the girl of the peregrine falcon was much prettier than I could appreciate the first time. The other girl was tall and blonde and was going to dress as a flamingo. It wasn't the bird I liked best, but at least I liked the color pink. I wasn't surprised she said that, because already in the morning she was dressed with two pink bows in her hair and matching intense lipstick. She was also wearing a crop top in a similar color. The four bird costumes were a hawk, a flamingo, a cardinal, and the peacock. "The peacock is not cute at all. I wish I had been an eagle," I said to Sonia. I was told that the eagle had been the first bird to be assigned by Jane and Mia. They gave it to a blonde girl who had already worked as a professional model. She would probably be the winner of the contest. I glanced around the hotel restaurant, but could not see the supposed model. However, as I sipped my coffee, I got to thinking about how much I wish I could outrank this girl in the pageant. Not only because she had stolen my favorite bird, but because I was looking forward to being the winner of the contest. I immediately felt strange for thinking this. I was an office worker with a steady job pretending to be a girl so I could dress up as a bird? How had I gotten into this situation? And why was I so eager to participate and win? I didn't know the answer exactly. What I did know was that I had to improve my woman's voice. I didn't have a very deep voice, but I was afraid that they would discover my true identity and I would be disqualified, which didn't make sense because Jane herself had accepted me as the organizer of the event, but I was afraid that the rest of the contestants would raise a protest. As I conversed with Sonia and the two other girls, I modulated my voice until I made it as soft and believable as I could. I just hoped that tomorrow at the pageant they wouldn't make me talk into a microphone or something. That could ruin my whole plan. I looked at the clock on the wall and was startled. It was almost time for me to go to the beauty salon. I asked Sonia to come with me, and we said goodbye to our friends. Luckily for me, the salon was only 2 blocks from the hotel. As we entered, we noticed that there were no customers except for a blonde woman. Sonia whispered to me she was the eagle girl. She was really beautiful. I wasn't the least bit surprised if she was already a professional model. It seemed to me that the hairdresser was giving her straight, long blonde hair a trim. When she was done, the eagle girl stood up and greeted us with a smile. She didn't seem mean. I felt a little silly for being jealous of her over the bird choice. It wasn't her fault after all. I sat in the leather chair. The hairdresser closed the curtains of the shop. "You have nothing to worry about. It's going to just be the 3 of us for the rest of the morning." She asked me to take off my pants. I took off my jogging pants, not realizing that Sonia was watching me. I was a little embarrassed, but I had no choice. To stretch the inevitable, I asked to please get my hair cut first. The hairdresser took 2 scissors and a small electric razor and trimmed my hair. My blonde hair was now very short, but it didn't look like a boy. I was left with one of those updo hairstyles that girls sometimes wear nowadays. My friend congratulated me on my new look. Now I couldn't stretch it any longer. I was going to have to wax, at least my legs, and a little bit of my chest too. The stylist started spreading the hot wax on my legs. Sonia grabbed my hand to reassure me. Minutes later, the stylist began to remove my hair along with the wax. My friend continued to squeeze my hand, but now she had the luxury of laughing a little at me. "You need to get over this. Otherwise you are going to cry when you have to walk in high heels later." Both women laughed. Luckily, after a while the matter was concluded. I looked at my legs. Without hair on them, I felt very strange, but also more comfortable. Looking at myself in the mirror, I started to think about how I would explain the new hairstyle to my coworkers. I would rather have them ask me about my hair than know I was going to dress as a woman. Sonia and I thanked the hairdresser and hurried back to the hotel. It was almost time for me to go to the rehearsal site, which was close to the hotel but in the opposite direction of the salon. Sonia touched up her makeup and mine. We grabbed our bags with spare clothes and walked away. Sonia seemed excited as a child as she pointed and commented on the clothing or music venues. Boston is great, but NYC is just sensational. I agreed with her, even though my mind was on something else. I was minutes away from dressing as a woman for the first time in my life. From walking in high heels and being made up by a professional, my heart was pounding in my chest as I walked into the rehearsal venue. As expected, we were the last two to arrive, just as we were the last to be selected. I was afraid that this was an omen, that we would both finish last. Sonia reassured me. She said that there was no negative distinction for the last places, only prizes to celebrate the first three. True, but it was also possible that I would be the participant who raised the least money for donations. That would be disappointing. Dressing up as a woman and a peacock to finish among the worst would be very sad. Suddenly, Jane and Mia appeared through a side double door. They were much more elegant than they had been the day before. Jane congratulated us for passing the casting and for our noble intention to help animals and nature. She said to wait patiently for a second. The dresses were already arriving. We could go to one of the adjoining dressing rooms to try on the dress and its accessories, which included the shoes that matched the costume. Mia said there was no need to hurry. We were not competing today, just training. Once we had changed into the dresses, we could wait to be made up by one of the two professional makeup artists. I could see around me that the rest of the girls were as nervous as I was. I was happy, but also nervous about having to change with the girls. I was afraid they would find out that I was a boy and ruin my weekend. Jane announced that the dresses were here. We all screamed out of excitement. We watched as a couple of maids hung the dresses on a rack inside an adjoining room that turned out to be much larger than it looked according to its small door. Once all the dresses were hung, we were able to enter one by one. Again, Sonia and I were last, but this had the advantage that our costumes were instantly recognizable. Sonia's dress was the richest red I had ever seen. It was quite wintry clothing. It looked like it had real red feathers. The dress included a beautiful hood that pretended to be the head of the red cardinal. The shoes were also beautiful and of a slight more subtle red color. Sonia gestured with her eyes and a smile for me to observe my own peacock dress. I could tell just by looking at it that it was the cutest costume of all. The girls had been right. I was very lucky. My dress included a green fabric top with blue ornaments that simulated the feathers of the male peacock. The top was trimmed with a dark green fabric, and at the bottom the dress ended with a black ruffled skirt. In addition, long strips of green and blue fabric simulated the bird's tail. This tail was combined with a beautiful leather collar that had synthetic feathers attached to it. Finally, white high-heel shoes with adorable bows and colorful ornaments completed the costume. We both quickly went to the dressing room to change. We stood apart from the other contestants so they wouldn't see that I was wearing boxers. She put on the dress itself, and I marveled at the fabric of the skirt. My shaved legs looked great. Out of nowhere, I felt a presence behind me. It was the Eagle girl. Had she seen something? Had she seen me in my boxer shorts? "You got a problem, Maria?" said Sonia, trying to shoo her away. The blonde Maria smiled and said no. Luckily, she left us alone. My friend looked very cute in her red outfit. Maybe I wasn't going to win the contest, but she sure was. I tried to put on the rest of the costume with her help. The high heels gave me a bit of a scare, but this fear was outweighed by my joy at looking so splendid. We waited our turn to be made up. After a few minutes, both makeup artists were able to attend to us. I really liked the way my face looked. I really looked like a girl. I especially liked the color of my cheeks. I smiled in front of the mirror. I looked fabulous. Before I left, the makeup artist put a hairnet on my head. I had almost forgotten about the wig thing. The long blonde wig looked great on me. I had no objections to my look. Jane and Mia had done a great job. I would thank them later. What I was beginning to notice was a difficulty in walking in these shoes. Sonia told me to relax and just put one leg in and then the other, swaying the waist. We returned with Sonia to the rehearsal site. Jane asked us to stand one behind the other in 2 rows. I could see that there was black tape taped on the floor. Mia explained that this tape simulated the size of the actual runway. She apologized for not being able to rehearse at the real venue, but said that it was being decorated, so it couldn't be available for today. She also explained that she was a model and was going to be our instructor today. She congratulated us and said that we looked very nice and that we would have no trouble collecting donations from the male guests. We all laughed almost in unison. We started the parade. We made 3 rounds before stopping for a snack. I was having a little trouble walking in my shoes. What I did was watch Sonia, who was ahead of me in line, and try to copy her movements. She had an undeniable grace in walking. We stopped for a snack and talked about our daily lives. When we resumed, we did a couple more laps. Only this time, Jane put on some pop music to reproduce the atmosphere of what was to be the event. It was on the last pass that something unpleasant happened. I was parading smoothly, feeling confident, then I felt my wig fall off. No, it didn't fall off. Maria, the Eagle girl, had pulled it off. She then ran her hands through my hair and completely messed it up. Of course, without a mirror, I couldn't see myself, but I imagined that my hairstyle would now look like a boy's. "Are you going to tell us your real name?" Maria asked. All I managed was to stammer as I looked around for help. Sonia told Maria to leave me alone, but it was there that Maria pointed at me and said, "Are you going to talk or not? Or maybe you don't want us to hear your real voice, huh?" "Girls, take a look at his face and you'll find out. Look at his features." I almost started crying. To end the matter, I agreed with Maria. I admitted that I was actually a boy, not a girl. I said it in my natural voice. The rest of the girls looked at each other. Some whispered in each other's ears. Others commented in my favor, saying I looked great in the peacock dress. "It was supposed to be just girls here," Maria said, "but I don't care. There's no way I'm losing to a man." After saying this, she went to change. Somehow, Maria had decreed the end of the rehearsal for everybody. Jane came over to me and reassured me. She told me that boys were not prohibited from participating, only that the dresses were intended for girls. She complimented me on looking so good in the dress, and I thanked her. Sonia and I went to change. Before we left the site, Jane reminded us of the contest schedule so that we would be ready tomorrow. We said goodbye to her. Instead of going to the hotel for lunch, we went to a fast food place. Sonia told me not to worry about what the others thought. She was sure they were jealous of how good I looked in my peacock dress. Of course I couldn't agree, but I said yes, so as not to continue the discussion. We finished eating and went back to the hotel room. Sonia called her mom on the phone. She told her about the cardinal costume and about her beautiful peacock friend. We changed, brushed our teeth, and put on pajamas. Before we went to bed, I asked her why she had come all the way from Boston to participate in this contest. It struck me that this was her second attempt. Maybe she loved birds as much as I did. I love birds, yes, but I got into the pageant because I want to be a model. My logic is that if I can look pretty dressed as a bird, then I can look pretty modeling the best dresses. Don't you think? Of course, I agreed with her. A very pretty girl like her would surely make it into the top 3 of the contest and could become a professional model. Sonia was a very nice girl, and I wish her well. We watched some TV before going to sleep. There was a show about a dress collection. The fashion models were beautiful. I would never look so good walking in high heels. Again, it was my turn to turn out the lights. Before I fell asleep, I imagined a landscape again. This time, a huge variety of birds appeared in my mind. They were in a forest. It was quite obvious that they were the animals, corresponding to the dresses I had seen today afternoon at the rehearsal. The birds seemed to have formed a circle. In the center was an eagle trying to peck the neck of a peacock. The peacock was very frightened and did not seem to react. Suddenly, it managed to unfurl its tail feathers. The eagle flew in terror at such beauty. I didn't trust myself enough to think of chasing away an eagle like that. But tomorrow I was going to put up a fight, in my dress and heels. Of that I was sure. Thanks for watching the video. Part 3 is coming soon. Let me know what you think in the comments.